The massive alien ship drifted through the dark space between stars. Its hull was smooth and silver, shaped like a giant teardrop that caught the light from distant suns. Inside the ship, Commander Vexeri studied the glowing screen in front of him. His long, thin fingers moved across the control panel as he read the report from his scouts. Another primitive world, he said to himself. His voice was high and musical, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. These creatures barely know how to leave their own planet. The screen showed images of a small blue world called Earth. Vexeri watched videos of strange two-legged creatures walking around on the surface. They had no fur, no scales, no protective shell. They looked soft and weak. The commander shook his head in disgust. "Look at them," he said to his second-in-command. Officer Kelmyra. "They use fire to push their ships into space." Fire. Like children playing with sticks. Kelmyra nodded her agreement. She was shorter than Vexeri, but had the same thin build and pale skin. Her people, the Zephyrians, had conquered 47 worlds in the last 100 years. It was the same story. The primitive species would try to fight back with their basic weapons. Within days, sometimes hours, they would surrender. "Their technology is thousands of years behind ours," Kelmyra said. "They still use metal projectiles as weapons. They burn fossil fuels for energy. They have not even mastered faster than light." "Travel," Vexeri laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "And yet the Galactic Council wants us to follow proper first contact procedures. They want us to send peaceful messages and wait for responses." He turned away from the screen. "A waste of time. These Earth creatures will submit just like all the others." The commander walked to the large window that showed the stars outside. His ship was one of 200 in the Zephyrian warfleet. Each vessel was armed with plasma cannons that could melt through any known metal. They had energy shields that could stop most attacks. Their computers could calculate battle plans in milliseconds. "Sir," a young officer called from across the bridge, "we have prepared the standard surrender demand. Should we send it to the Earth creatures?" "Yes," Vexeri said, without turning around. "Give them the usual terms. Join the collective peacefully, and we will not destroy their cities. Refuse, and we will take their world by force, light years away, on the third planet from a yellow star." Captain Jake Morrison sat in his office at the Earth Defense Force headquarters. The room was small and plain, with metal walls and a single desk covered in papers. Jake was a big man with short brown hair and tired eyes. He had been in the military for 20 years, fighting in wars between human nations. He thought those days were over. The door to his office opened and Admiral Lisa Brooks walked in. She was a tall woman with gray hair and a serious face. Behind her came Colonel Ben Carter, a black man with broad shoulders and scars on his hands from old battles. "Jake," Admiral Brooks said as she sat down, "we just received something you need to see." She placed a small device on the desk and pressed a button. A holographic image appeared in the air above it. The image showed a creature with pale skin, large eyes, and a thin body. When it spoke, its voice was translated into English by the computer. "Greetings, primitive inhabitants of the planet you call Earth," the alien said. "I am Commander Vexeri of the Zephyrian Collective. Your world has been chosen to join our great empire. You have two choices. Surrender your planet to us peacefully, and your people will be allowed to live as our servants. Refuse, and we will destroy your cities and take your world by force. You have 7 of your days to decide." The hologram disappeared. Jake stared at the empty air where it had been. Colonel Carter was the first to speak. "Well," he said slowly, "that's not what I expected to hear today." Admiral Brooks leaned forward. "Our deep space sensors have detected a large fleet moving toward our solar system. At least 200 ships, all of them bigger than anything we have ever built." Jake rubbed his forehead. "Do we know anything about these Zephyrians?" "Not much," Brooks replied. "Our computers are analyzing the message for clues about their technology and biology. What we can tell is that they seem to think this will be easy for them." "Maybe it will be," Colonel Carter said. "If they have 200 ships and weapons we have never seen before, what chance do we have?" Admiral Brooks stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the city of Denver stretching toward the mountains. People were walking on the streets, going about their normal lives. They had no idea that aliens were coming to invade their world. "There is something else," she said. The message was sent to every major government on Earth. "The President wants to convene an emergency meeting of the World Council. Some countries are already talking about surrender." Jake felt anger building in his chest. "Surrender? Without even trying to fight? I think it might save lives," Brooks said. "If these aliens are as advanced as they seem, fighting them might just get more people killed." "And if we surrender," Colonel Carter added, "we become slaves to creatures from another world. I would rather die fighting than live on my knees." Jake nodded. "What about our fleet? How many ships do we have that can fight in space?" 12 battleships, 36 cruisers, and about 200 smaller vessels," Brooks replied. "Most of them were built for fighting other human ships. We have no idea how they will perform against alien technology." "Then we need to find out," Jake said. "How long do we have?" "Their current speed. The alien fleet will reach Earth in about 3 weeks," Brooks said. "That gives us time to prepare, but not much time to build new ships or weapons." Jake stood up and walked to a map of the solar system hanging on the wall. Red dots marked the positions of human ships and space stations. Blue dots showed the locations of mining operations and research facilities. "Look so small compared to the vastness of space. They called us primitive," he said. "Maybe they are right. Maybe our weapons are not as advanced as theirs. They made one mistake." "What mistake?" Colonel Carter asked. "They think that primitive means weak," Jake replied. "They think that having better technology means they are better fighters. But technology is just tools. Fighting is about more than tools." Admiral Brooks turned away from the window. "What are you thinking, Jake?" "I am thinking that these aliens have probably conquered a lot of worlds," he said. "But I am willing to bet that none of those worlds were like Earth. None of those species were like humans." "What do you mean?" Jake pointed to the map. "Look at this planet. Look at what it has done to us. We evolved from hunters who chased animals across continents. We survived ice ages and volcanic explosions. We fought wars against each other for thousands of years. We learned to kill with sticks and stones before we learned to kill with guns and bombs." He turned to face the others. "These aliens think Earth is just another planet. They think humans are just another species. But Earth is not a gentle world. It is a world that kills anything that is not strong enough to survive. And humans are not a gentle species. We are the species that Earth created to be its ultimate predators." Colonel Carter smiled for the first time since entering the room. "You think we can win? I think we can surprise them," Jake said. "I think these aliens have never fought anyone like us before. I think they are about to learn why that matters." Admiral Brooks nodded slowly. "Then we had better get ready. We have 3 weeks to prepare for the fight of our lives." Outside the window, the sun was setting over the mountains. In 3 weeks, alien ships would fill the sky where stars now shone. But the people of Earth did not know that yet. They were still going about their normal lives, unaware that their world was about to change forever. The war was coming, and neither side truly understood what they were about to face. 3 weeks passed like a nightmare that would not end. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the radar screens that showed dots of light moving toward Earth. Each dot was an alien ship, and there were so many of them that the screen looked like it was covered in stars. "Sir," called Lieutenant Alex Turner from his station. "The alien fleet is slowing down. They're taking positions around our outer planets." Jake nodded, but said nothing. Alex was young, maybe 25 years old, with blonde hair and blue eyes that reminded Jake of his own son. The kid was one of the best fighter pilots in the fleet, but he had never been in a real battle. None of them had fought aliens before. "Long until they reach us?" Jake asked. "At current speed, about 6 hours," Alex replied. "But sir, they could speed up if they wanted to. I think they are playing with us." On the main screen, Jake could see the alien ships clearly now. Were beautiful in a way, like silver teardrops floating in space. Each one was at least twice the size of the Defiance, and the Defiance was the biggest ship humans had ever built. Jake tried not to think about how many people were on his ship, How many families would lose fathers and mothers and children if this went wrong? Captain, another voice called out. We are receiving a transmission from Admiral Brooks. Change to show Admiral Brooks sitting in the command center back on Earth. Her face was calm, but Jake could see the worry in her eyes. Jake, she said, the aliens have sent another message. They want to talk to our leaders before they attack. They are offering us one last chance to surrender. What did the president say? Jake asked. The president told them to go to hell, Brooks replied. But Jake, our scientists have been studying the alien transmission. We learned something important. These creatures, the Zephyrians, they come from a world very different from Earth. Different how? Lower gravity, thinner air, no dangerous animals. Dr. Marie Campbell thinks they might be physically weaker than us. But Jake, their weapons are incredible. Energy beams that can cut through steel like paper. Force fields that can stop our missiles. If we fight them head-on, we will lose. Jake felt a cold knot in his stomach. Then what do you suggest? Hit them hard and fast. Use our advantages. Make them fight the way we want to fight, not the way they want to fight. The transmission ended, and Jake was alone with his thoughts. Around him, the bridge crew worked quietly, preparing for battle. He could hear the hum of the ship's engines, the beeping of computers, the soft voices of people who might be about to die. Captain, Alex said, the alien fleet is moving again. They're coming straight for us. Jake took a deep breath. Ships, this is Captain Morrison. We're about to face an enemy unlike anything we have ever seen. They have better technology, bigger ships, and more experience. But they made one mistake. They came to our home. They threatened our families. They think we will run away or give up. Let's show them what humans do when someone threatens the people we love. The alien ships came closer, their silver hulls gleaming in the light from the sun. Jake could see weapon ports opening along their sides, energy beginning to build up in their cannons. Fire, Jake shouted. The Defiance shook as its main guns fired. Huge shells, each one the size of a car, flew through space toward the alien ships. At the same time, missiles streaked away from the human fleet, their engines leaving trails of fire behind them. The aliens fired back. Beams of pure energy, bright as lightning, reached across space in an instant. The first beam hit the human cruiser Portland, and Jake watched in horror as the ship simply melted. The energy beam cut through the hull like a hot knife through butter, and the Portland exploded in a ball of fire. Shields up, Jake yelled, but he knew it was too late. Another energy beam hit the Defiance, and Jake felt the ship shake like it was being torn apart. Sparks flew from control panels, and the lights went out for a moment before the emergency power kicked in. Hull breach on Deck 7, someone shouted. We are losing atmosphere. But then something strange happened. The aliens stopped firing. Jake looked at the screen and saw that the human shells had reached the alien ships. The first shell hit an alien cruiser in the middle of its hull, and to Jake's amazement, the entire ship broke in half. The metal of the alien hull was so thin that the solid steel shell went right through it. Did you see that? Alex yelled from his station. Their ships are made of paper. More shells hit more alien ships. Each impact caused massive damage, sometimes destroying the entire vessel. The aliens had energy shields that could stop beams and missiles, but they had never faced solid projectiles moving at such high speed. Sir, called the weapons officer, the aliens are pulling back. They are moving out of range of our guns. Jake smiled for the first time in weeks. Then we go after them. All ships advance. Show them what human ships can do. The human fleet moved forward, their engines pushing them toward the alien ships. The aliens fired their energy weapons again, but this time the humans were ready. They had learned that alien weapons were powerful, but took time to charge between shots. The human ships used their speed and agility to avoid the worst of the damage. Lieutenant Alex Turner launched his fighter and flew toward the alien fleet. His small ship was fast and hard to hit, and he carried missiles designed to punch through armor. As he got closer to the aliens, he could see details of their ships that the long-range sensors had missed. Captain, he said over the radio, these ships are not built for combat. They look more like passenger vessels. I think they are used to fighting people who give up quickly. Alex fired his missiles at an alien destroyer. The missiles hit the ship's hull and exploded, tearing huge holes in the metal. The alien ship began to spin out of control, pieces breaking off as it tumbled through space. This is impossible. Alex heard an alien voice say over the radio. The computer translated the words into English. Their primitive weapons are destroying our ships. How can this be? On the bridge of the Defiance, Jake listened to the alien communications. He could hear fear in their voices, confusion and panic. These creatures had expected an easy victory, and instead they were being torn apart by weapons they considered primitive. Captain, Dr. Marie Campbell's voice came over the radio. She was on the research ship Newton, studying the battle from a safe distance. I am analyzing the alien ship debris. You need to hear this. Go ahead, Doctor. These aliens, they are not built for war. Their bones are hollow like birds. Their muscle density is about half that of humans. The gravity on their homeworld must be much lower than Earth's. Captain, I think these creatures would have trouble even walking on our planet. Jake felt understanding wash over him. They are not warriors, he said. They're bullies. They pick on species that cannot fight back. Exactly, Dr. Campbell replied. Their technology is advanced, but their bodies are weak. They have never fought anyone who could hurt them before. The battle continued for another hour. The aliens tried different tactics, but each time the humans adapted. When the aliens tried to use their speed advantage, the humans used their sensors to predict where the alien ships would be and fired their guns ahead of time. When the aliens tried to overwhelm the humans with numbers, the humans concentrated their fire on one ship at a time, destroying them quickly. Finally, the alien fleet began to retreat. Jake watched as the silver ships turned away from Earth and accelerated toward the outer edge of the solar system. But he knew this was not over. The aliens would be back, and next time they would be ready for human tactics. All ships report, Jake said into his radio. This is the Chicago, came a voice. We lost main power, but we are still in one piece. Denver. Here, we have hull damage, but no casualties. Phoenix reporting. We are ready to continue the fight. Jake smiled as he listened to the reports. They had lost 3 ships and almost 200 people, but they had driven off an alien fleet that should have been able to destroy them easily. The aliens had learned something today, but so had the humans. Sir, Alex said as he brought his fighter back to the Defiance. What do we do now? Jake looked at the stars where the alien ships had disappeared. Now we get ready for round 2. Because I have a feeling the aliens are not going to underestimate us again. In the distance, moving away from Earth at high speed, Commander Vexeri sat in his damaged command ship. Half his fleet was gone, destroyed by primitive weapons that should not have been able to hurt them. His thin fingers shook as he composed. A message to the collective. Send reinforcements, he said. Many reinforcements. These humans are not like the others. They are dangerous. 6 months had passed since the first battle, and the war had changed everything. Major Sam Rodriguez crouched in the shadows of an asteroid, watching the alien supply depot through his helmet's display. The depot was huge, built into the side of a mountain-sized rock floating in space. Ships came and went constantly, carrying weapons and supplies to the Zephyrian fleet. Remember, Sam whispered into his radio, these aliens break easy, but their technology can still kill us if we are not careful. Behind him, 20 human soldiers checked their weapons one last time. They wore thick armor designed to work in the vacuum of space, and each carried enough air and power for 6 hours of combat. The soldiers looked like walking tanks, but they moved with the grace of hunters. Rodriguez came a voice in his earpiece. This is Captain Lucy Davis. My team is in position at the main entrance. Are you ready? Sam smiled inside his helmet. Lucy was leading another team of soldiers who would attack the depot from the front, while Sam's team went in through the back. It was a classic human tactic called a pincer movement, something humans had been using in warfare for thousands of years. Ready? Sam replied. Let's show these aliens what happens when they mess with Earth. The attack began with explosions. Lucy's team used shape charges to blow open the main entrance to the depot. Alarms started screaming and alien guards came, running from all directions. but they were not ready for what they found. The human soldiers moved through the depot like ghosts. Their armor was painted black to blend with the darkness of space, and their weapons made almost no sound when they fired. The aliens tried to fight back, but their energy weapons were designed for ship-to-ship combat, not close-quarters fighting, contact. "Front!" one of Sam's soldiers called out. 3 alien guards had appeared around a corner, their weapons glowing with energy. But before they could fire, the humans were already moving. The soldiers dove for cover behind metal crates, their movements fast and smooth. Sam watched as the aliens tried to aim their weapons. The creatures were tall and thin, with long arms and legs that looked fragile. When they moved, they seemed to float rather than walk, like they were not used to gravity. Their weapons were powerful, but they were slow and clumsy with them.
"Take
them down," Sam ordered. The human soldiers fired their rifles, and the aliens fell immediately. The bullets went right through their thin armor like it was made of cloth. Sam had seen this before in other battles. The aliens had technology that could stop energy weapons, but they had never learned to protect themselves from solid projectiles. "Depot secured," Lucy's voice came over the radio. "We have captured their supply computers. Dr. Pete Johnson is going to love this." Sam nodded as he looked around the depot. Crates of alien weapons and equipment were stacked everywhere. His team began setting explosive charges while the computer specialists copied files from the alien systems. In 30 minutes, they would be gone. The depot would be nothing but floating debris. Back on Earth. Dr. Pete Johnson sat in his laboratory, studying pieces of alien technology. The walls were covered with diagrams and equations, and tables were covered with alien devices in various stages of being taken apart. Pete was a thin man with wild hair and thick glasses, and he had not slept properly in weeks. "Fascinating," he said to his assistant, Dr. Karen White. "Look at this power cell. That stores 10 times more energy than our best batteries, but the design is so simple that we can copy it." Karen nodded as she worked on another piece of equipment. "The aliens are definitely more advanced than us, but their technology is not as far ahead as we thought. It's like they took one path of development, while we took another." Pete held up a small device that looked like a crystal. "This is their shield generator. It creates a field that can stop energy weapons, but it does nothing against physical objects. I think I know why. Because they never needed to protect themselves from bullets or missiles. Every species they conquered must have used energy weapons like they do. They never fought anyone who still used kinetic weapons." Karen smiled. "So our primitive technology is actually an advantage?" "Exactly. We are like someone showing up to a sword fight with a gun. They are not prepared for it." On the bridge of the UES Defiance, Captain Jake Morrison looked at the tactical display showing the Jupiter system. The aliens had built a major base there, using it to launch attacks on Earth's outer colonies. For months, human ships had been unable to get close enough to do any damage. Sir Lieutenant Alex Turner said from his station, "The alien base is heavily defended. They have energy cannons that can hit our ships from 1,000,000 kilometers away." Jake nodded. "Then we don't go in with ships. We go in with something they won't expect." He turned to Commander Kate Phillips, who had just arrived from the asteroid belt. Kate was a mining engineer who had joined the military when the war started. She had an idea that was so crazy it might actually work. "Kate," Jake said, "tell me about your plan." Kate activated the holographic display, showing a diagram of the Jupiter system. "Sir, we have been thinking about this all wrong. Keep trying to fight the aliens with military ships, but they are ready for that. What if we use something else?" "Like what?" "Like a mining ship? The aliens have seen our military vessels, but they have never seen our industrial equipment. I want to load a cargo hauler with explosives and ram it into their base at high speed." Alex looked shocked. "That's suicide. Whoever pilots that ship will never make it out alive." Kate shook her head. "Not if we do it right. We program the ship's computer to fly itself. A human pilot needed. The aliens will think it's just another cargo ship until it's too late." Jake considered the plan. It was dangerous and desperate, but it might work. The aliens were smart, but they thought like aliens. They would not expect humans to use a cargo ship as a weapon. "Do it," Jake said. But I want you to modify the plan. Instead of just explosives, let's give them something really special. 3 days later, the cargo ship Hercules drifted toward the alien base near Jupiter. The ship looked like any other human cargo vessel, the long body and massive engines designed for hauling or between planets. But inside, it carried something the aliens had never seen before. "Base control," came a voice from the alien station. "Unidentified cargo vessel, identify yourself." The ship's computer responded with a pre-recorded message. "This is the cargo ship Hercules. We are carrying supplies for the colony on Europa, requesting permission to pass." The aliens scanned the ship and saw exactly what they expected to see: cargo containers, life support systems, and a small crew area. What they did not see was that the cargo containers were filled with human-made nuclear weapons, and the life support systems had been removed to make room for more explosives. "Permission granted," the alien controller said. "Proceed to Europa." But the Hercules did not proceed to Europa. Instead, it changed course and accelerated toward the alien base. By the time the aliens realized what was happening, it was too late. The ship was moving at a significant fraction of light speed, and nothing they had could stop it. "Incoming projectile," screamed the alien base commander. "All weapons, fire at will." Energy beams reached out from the base, trying to destroy the approaching ship. Some of the beams hit, tearing pieces off the Hercules, but the ship kept coming. It had been built to survive in the harsh environment of space, and it could take more damage than the aliens expected. The Hercules hit the alien base like a hammer hitting glass. The impact released the energy of a small star, and the entire base simply disappeared. The explosion was so bright that it could be seen from Earth without a telescope. "Base destroyed," Kate reported from the bridge of the Defiance. "All survivors detected." Jake felt satisfaction wash over him. The aliens had superior technology, but humans had superior tactics. They had learned to fight in ways the aliens could not predict or counter. "Sir," Alex said, "we are receiving a transmission from the alien fleet. They want to talk." The main screen showed Commander Vexeri, but he looked different now. His pale skin was even paler, and his large eyes were filled with something Jake had never seen there before: fear. "Human commanders," Vexeri said, "we wish to discuss terms for a ceasefire." Jake almost laughed. "Terms you came to our world uninvited? You threatened our people. You started this war." "We made an error in judgment," the alien commander replied. "We did not understand what kind of species we were dealing with. Your people fight in ways we have never encountered. You use weapons. We thought we're obsolete. You attack targets. We thought we're safe. And now you want to stop fighting? We want to avoid further losses. Our people are not prepared for this kind of warfare. We are not built for it." Jake looked around the bridge at his crew. They'd been fighting for months, losing friends and family to alien weapons. But they had also been winning, pushing the aliens back step by step. "Here are our terms," Jake said. "Leave our solar system. Never come back. Tell your people that Earth is off limits." Vexeri was quiet for a long moment. "And if we refuse, then we will keep hunting you. We'll destroy your bases, capture your ships, and take apart your technology piece by piece. We will follow you back to your homeworld if we have to." The alien commander's thin fingers trembled as he considered Jake's words. The Galactic Council Chamber was the largest room Ambassador Helen Wright had ever seen. The ceiling stretched so high that clouds formed near the top, and thousands of seats surrounded a central platform where speakers could address the assembly. Helen stood at that platform now, looking up at creatures from dozens of different worlds. There were beings that looked like giant insects, others that seemed to be made of living crystal, and some that floated in tanks of strange liquid. They all had one thing in common. They were all staring at Helen with expressions of fear, curiosity, and disbelief. "Honorable representatives," Helen began, her voice carried by translators to every corner of the chamber. "I am Ambassador Helen Wright, speaking for the people. Of Earth, we come here not as conquerors, but as defenders of our home." A creature that looked like a walking tree raised one of its branch-like arms. "Ambassador Wright," it said in a voice like rustling leaves. The Galactic Council has received disturbing reports about your species. The Zephyrian Collective claims that humans are savage warriors who destroy everything in their path. Helen nodded calmly. The Zephyrians attacked our world without warning or provocation. They demanded that we surrender our freedom and become their slaves. We defended ourselves by destroying their entire forward fleet, another alien said. One looked like a large bird with 4 wings and bright purple feathers. By using weapons of mass destruction against their supply bases. By tactics that violate every rule of civilized warfare. What rules? Helen asked. The rules that say we should lie down and die when someone stronger attacks us. The rules that say we should accept slavery to avoid conflict. Those are not our rules. The chamber erupted in noise as hundreds of aliens began talking at once. Some sounded angry, others frightened. Helen waited for them to quiet down before she continued. I understand your concern, she said. You have never encountered a species like ours before. You want to know what makes us different? What makes us dangerous? The answer is simple. We come from a death world. The chamber fell completely silent. Helen could see shock and horror on the faces of creatures that had never imagined such a thing. Most species in the galaxy evolved on garden worlds with gentle climates and peaceful ecosystems. The idea that intelligent life could come from a dangerous planet was almost unthinkable to them. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world by your own scientific standards, Helen continued. Our gravity is 3 times stronger than most habitable planets. Our atmosphere contains chemicals that would poison many of you. Our world is home to creatures that hunt and kill for survival. Small alien that looked like a floating jellyfish spoke up. Surely you exaggerate. No intelligent species could evolve under such conditions. Helen smiled. Let me tell you about Earth. Our planet has ice ages that last for thousands of years. We have storms that can level entire cities. We have earthquakes that split the ground open and volcanoes that block out the sun. And in the oceans, we have predators with teeth the size of your arm. She paused, letting that sink in. But the most dangerous predator on Earth is us, humans. We hunted animals 10 times our size with nothing but pointed sticks. Ice ages by learning to make fire and build shelters. We crossed oceans in wooden boats, not knowing what was on the other side. This is impossible, the bird-like alien said. No species could survive such an environment and still develop civilization. What? Just survive, Helen replied. Thrive. Every challenge our world threw at us made us stronger. Every predator that tried to eat us taught us to be better hunters. Every disaster that tried to kill us taught us to be more adaptable. On the other side of the galaxy, General Rick Stone stood in the command center of the human space station, Olympus. The station was built in the asteroid belt, hidden among the rocks, where alien sensors could not easily find it. Rick was a big man with gray hair and scars on his face from old battles. He had been fighting aliens for 2 years now, and he had learned things about warfare that no human had ever known before. Sir, called Colonel Nancy Adams from her station. Our scouts report that the Zephyrian home fleet is moving toward Earth. Over 500 ships, including their newest dreadnoughts. Rick nodded as he studied the tactical display. The aliens had learned from their previous defeats and were bringing everything they had for one final assault. But Rick had been preparing for this moment. Have they figured out our new deployment strategy? He asked. No, sir, Nancy replied. They still think like aliens. They expect us to meet them in open space with our biggest ships. Rick smiled. Then, let's give them a surprise they will never forget. Activate the Deathworld Doctrine. The Deathworld Doctrine was Rick's masterpiece. A military strategy that used every advantage humans had gained from evolving on a hostile world. Human soldiers could operate in environments that would kill most aliens. Human ships could take damage that would cripple alien vessels. Human tactics embraced chaos and unpredictability in ways that confused enemies used to orderly warfare. Units, this is General Stone, Rick said into his communicator. Execute plan, Predator. Show them what happens when they threaten a Deathworld species. The battle began in the asteroid belt, where the alien fleet expected to find human ships, waiting for them. Instead, they found asteroids that exploded when they got too close. Human engineers had turned dozens of space rocks into massive bombs, each one powerful enough to destroy a ship. "What is this?" Commander Vexeri demanded from the bridge of his flagship. "These are not military targets, these are just rocks." His tactical officer replied, "The humans have weaponized the asteroids themselves. They are using their environment as a weapon." Vexeri felt fear growing in his chest. In all his years of conquest, he had never fought an enemy that turned the battlefield itself into a weapon. But the surprises were just beginning. Human fighters appeared from behind the larger asteroids, launching missiles and then disappearing back into the rock field. The alien ships tried to follow, but their holes were not designed for the tight spaces between asteroids. Several ships crashed into rocks they could not see coming. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we are receiving a transmission." "From the human fleet?" "Put it on screen," Vexeri ordered. Admiral Lisa Brooks appeared on the display, sitting in the command center of her flagship. Behind her, Rick could see human officers working calmly at their stations, as if they were not in the middle of the largest space battle in galactic history. Commander Vexeri Brooks said, "This is your final warning. Leave our system now, or we will destroy every ship in your fleet." "Impossible," Vexeri replied. "You have maybe 50 ships. You have 500. Numbers don't matter when you don't know how to use them," Brooks said. "You fight like prey animals. You stay in groups, you follow predictable patterns, you retreat when you take damage. We fight like predators. We strike from ambush. We adapt to new situations. We keep fighting, even when we are hurt." As if to prove her point, explosions began to bloom throughout the alien fleet. Human submarines, designed to operate underwater on Earth, had been modified to work in space. They moved through the asteroid field like sharks, invisible to alien sensors, until they fired their torpedoes. "This is madness," Vexeri said. "You are using submarines in space? You are hiding behind rocks like children? You have no honor?" "Honor?" Brooks laughed. "You came to our world to enslave our people, and you talk about honor? We fight to win, Commander. That's what predators do." The alien fleet tried to regroup, but the humans had more surprises waiting. Ships that looked like cargo haulers suddenly revealed hidden weapon systems. What appeared to be escape pods turned out to be guided missiles with human pilots inside them. Even the space stations that the aliens thought were just mining facilities opened up to reveal massive gun batteries. "Sir," the alien tactical officer said, his voice shaking, "we have lost over half our ships. The humans are everywhere. They are fighting like they know every rock in this system." Because they do know every rock, Vexeri realized. This is their home. They've been preparing these defenses for months. On the human command station, Rick watched as the alien fleet began to break apart. Some ships were trying to retreat, others were flying in circles looking for enemies they could not find. The aliens had superior technology, but they had no idea how to fight in an environment designed by humans. "Sir," Nancy said, "the alien command ship is trying to escape. Should we let them go?" Rick thought about it for a moment. "No. If we let Vexeri escape, he will just come back with more ships. In this now." The human fleet converged on the alien flagship from all directions. Fighters attacked from above and below, submarines fired torpedoes from the sides, and the main battle group hit them head-on. The alien ship's shields flared and failed under the concentrated assault. Commander Vexeri Brooks said over the radio, "Surrender now, and your crew will be spared." There was a long pause before the alien replied. "We surrender," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "We yield to the Deathworld species." Back in the Galactic Council chamber, Ambassador Helen Wright saw the effect her words were having on the assembled aliens. 2 years had passed since the last battle, and the galaxy was a different place. Captain Jake Morrison walked through the corridors of the space station Unity, which floated in neutral space between Earth and the Zephyrian home system. The station was a symbol of the new peace. Built by both humans and aliens working together, Jake had been promoted to Admiral after the war. But he still preferred to be called Captain. The title reminded him of simpler times, when the biggest threat to humanity was other humans. Now he was in charge of the Terran Protection Fleet, a force designed to make sure no one ever again tried to invade Earth. Admiral Morrison called. A voice behind him. Jake turned to see Commander Vexari approaching. The alien looked different now than he had during the war. His pale skin had a healthier color, and his large eyes no longer showed the fear that had been there during their last battle. Commander Jake replied with a nod. "How are the repairs to your ship going?" "Very well, thank you," Vexari said. "Your engineers are quite skilled. I must admit I never thought I would be grateful for human help." Jake smiled. "Funny how things change. 2 years ago we were trying to kill each other, and we are working together to keep the peace." They walked together toward the observation deck, where large windows showed the stars outside. Other beings moved through the station's corridors, representatives from dozens of different worlds. Some looked like humans, others were completely alien, but they all shared one thing in common. They had come here to learn about the new Galactic Order. Admiral Vexari said quietly, "May I ask you something?" "Of course." "During the war, when your people had clearly won, why did you not destroy us completely? You had the power to wipe out every Zephyrian ship, but you chose mercy instead. Why?" Jake thought about the question as they reached the observation deck. Through the windows, he could see human and alien ships patrolling together, their crews, working side by side to protect merchant vessels from pirates. "Because that's not who we are," Jake said finally. "Yes, humans are dangerous when we are threatened. We're predators when we need to be. We are also capable of forgiveness. We choose when to be monsters and when to be protectors." On Earth, in the city of Geneva, Ambassador Helen Wright sat across from Dr. Marie Campbell in a small cafe near the United Nations building. Through the window, they could see alien tourists walking down the street, taking pictures of human architecture and buying souvenirs from local shops. "It's amazing how quickly things have changed," Marie said as she sipped her coffee. A year ago, the idea of aliens visiting Earth as tourists would have been impossible. Helen nodded. "The Galactic Council's decision to classify Earth as a protected death world has made all the difference. No military vessels are allowed in our system without permission, but peaceful visitors are welcome. And the research exchange program? Better than we hoped," Helen replied. "Alien scientists are fascinated by our biology and technology, while our people are learning incredible things about the universe. Did you know that the Crystalline Collective has developed a way to grow food using nothing but starlight?" Marie laughed. "And they are amazed that we can survive in environments that would kill them instantly. Dr. Johnson showed a group of alien engineers how our mining equipment works. And they couldn't believe we use explosives to break apart solid rock." There. Conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a tall, thin alien with blue skin and 4 arms. It was Dr. Krelenth, a scientist from the Aquarian Federation who had been studying human physiology for the past 6 months. "Dr. Campbell, Ambassador Wright," the alien said in accented English, "I hope you don't mind if I join you. I have some fascinating news to share." "Of course," Helen said, gesturing to an empty chair. "What have you discovered?" Dr. Krelenth sat down carefully, his movements graceful, despite his alien appearance. "I have been analyzing the genetic structure of various human populations, and I have found something remarkable. Your species has the highest genetic diversity of any intelligent life form we have ever encountered." "What does that mean?" Marie asked. "It means that humans are incredibly adaptable," the alien scientist explained. "Most species evolve on worlds with stable climates, so they develop genetic uniformity. But Earth's climate has changed dramatically over millions of years, forcing your ancestors to adapt constantly. This has created a species with an almost unlimited ability to survive in different environments." Helen leaned forward with interest. "So you're saying that our Deathworld origin made us more than just physically tough?" "Exactly," Dr. Krelenth replied. "It made you mentally flexible as well. When faced with new challenges, most species try to use the same solutions that worked in the past. Humans instinctively try new approaches. This is why your military tactics were so effective against the Zephyrians." Across the galaxy on a space station near the edge of known space, Lieutenant Alex Turner prepared his fighter for launch. Was no longer the young pilot who had fought in humanity's first space battle. 2 years of combat and peacekeeping had turned him into a seasoned veteran. Alex called Captain Lucy Davis from the station's command center. "We just received a distress call from a merchant convoy. Pirates are attacking them near the nebula of lost ships. Alex nodded as he climbed into his cockpit. Understood. But Lucy, these pirates aren't human, are they? No, they're from the Raider clans. Bunch of different species who decided they don't want to follow galactic law. Good, Alex said with a grin. I was getting bored flying patrol missions with no action. His fighter launched from the station and accelerated toward the nebula, where his sensors showed multiple ships engaged in combat. The merchant convoy was made up of vessels from several different worlds, while the attackers were using ships stolen from various galactic navies. As Alex approached the battle, he activated his radio. Attention, pirate vessels. This is Lieutenant Turner of the Terran Protection Fleet. You are attacking ships under galactic protection. Surrender immediately, or face the consequences.
Damn.
The response came in the form of energy beams fired in his direction. Alex smiled as he dodged the attacks with ease. After fighting the Zephyrions, these pirates seemed slow and predictable. All right, he said to himself. Let's show them what a Deathworlder can do. The fight was over in minutes. Alex's fighter was faster and more maneuverable than anything the pirates had, and his weapons were designed to punch through any armor they might be using. When the last pirate ship exploded, the merchant convoy was safe. Thank you, human pilot, came a grateful voice over the radio. We will report your assistance to the Galactic Council. Just doing my job, Alex replied. Safe travels. Back on Unity Station, Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the main conference room with representatives from 12 different worlds. We're discussing the creation of a new galactic peacekeeping force, one that would include ships and crews from multiple species. The problem, said a representative from the insectoid hives, is that most of our species are not suited for combat roles. We lack the physical and mental attributes necessary for warfare. That's exactly why this partnership works, Jake replied. Humans provide the military expertise and combat personnel, while other species contribute their technological and scientific knowledge. Together, we create something stronger than any of us could build alone. A floating representative from the gas giant collective spoke up. But how can we be sure that humans won't use this force to conquer other worlds? Your species has proven to be incredibly dangerous. Jake looked around the room at the various alien faces. Because we choose not to. Yes, humans are dangerous. We evolved to be killers and survivors. But we also evolved to be protectors and builders. We have families. We love homes we cherish and dreams we want to achieve. We don't want to conquer the galaxy. We want to explore it, learn from it, and help make it a safer place for everyone. An alien that looked like a living tree raised one of its branch-like arms. The records show that humans have fought wars among themselves for thousands of years. How do we know you won't fight wars against us? Because now we have something better to fight, Jake answered. Pirates who prey on peaceful merchants. Slavers who capture innocent beings. Tyrants who oppress their own people. There will always be evil in the galaxy, and humans are very good at fighting evil. The meeting continued for several more hours, but the outcome was never really in doubt. The Galactic Defense Alliance was approved unanimously, with Earth providing most of the military personnel and other worlds contributing ships, technology, and support services. 3 months later, Jake stood on the bridge of the GDS Defender, the Alliance's flagship. The crew was made up of beings from 8 different species, all working together under human command. Through the main screen, he could see a fleet of ships approaching a world where a dictator had been enslaving his own people. All ships? This is Admiral Morrison, Jake said into his communicator. Remember, our mission is to liberate the oppressed, not to conquer. We go in fast, we remove the threat, and we let the people choose their own government. Sir called. The ship's tactical officer, a young human woman named Lieutenant Sarah Kim. The enemy fleet is moving to intercept us.